father in 1920 had went over and did some work for this John Ellis, who was the rancher whose ground this UFO crashed on. So this gentleman's dad got to talk to this John Ellis, and was able to tell me a little bit about the story.
Can you tell us? Can you tell the listeners a little bit about it?
Well, and it would have been in June 1884. A craft came over this ranch ground, and these guys were out checking it, and it broke up and crashed. Now, this is in Nebraska paper ledgers. I can't remember the exact one. I think a Lincoln paper, but you can look up, you can Google it on there, and 1884 Nebraska UFO. You can find it. But it crashed in a ravine, and they rode up on it, and one of the ranch hands went and looked over the edge of the ravine, and he got radiation burns. Now, I wasn't really able to find anything out about this guy, whether I kind of remember they took him to Denver, they took him back to the farmhouse. They really didn't state anything about him, but I was curious. But like I said, heard his eyes and stuff, so I've heard he must have underwent some radiation burns. Well, there were some pieces of metal that fell off this thing as it was crashing, and they were able to, I don't know how but they said they picked them up and they were real light, but they were kind of glowing, and this thing glowed. Well, this was like on a Friday, and so they stayed there around there Friday, stayed there Saturday, and there were people coming, word had kind of gotten around, and people were coming over to see this thing, and then on Sunday, people were still coming, but say early Sunday afternoon, a thunderstorm came up of biblical proportions, rained, and when it quit raining, they assumed this thing dissolved because it wasn't there anymore. It was gone.
Well, maybe the alien, rescue team or whatever came and created the major storm and recovered the pieces.
Well, I think that's about true. I mean, what a coincidence to have something like that happen and to get a biblical type of a thunderstorm, and then have it disappear.
Yeah, I don't think it would dissolve water because so many UFO sightings, as you know, coming out of water and coming out of the ocean and all this stuff.
But back in 1884, and this is a newspaper account, they wouldn't have known that back then. That's the only thing I can think of.
I wonder. I wonder how many people that found the pieces. I don't know how hard it would be to try to trace down, but the people that recovered little pieces.
I don't know if anybody kept any of the pieces.
Well, even handled it.
I think they kind of. Well, I don't know. I don't think. I think they kind of just picked them up with shovels or something, and kind of might have laid them back down because they really might have been a little leery, being the guy did get hurt looking at it. So you did have an element of keeping people back. Now, if somebody kept pieces, I don't know, or whatever. Or, like I said, even if they would have kept them and unknowingly, what would stop the extraterrestrials from coming and getting them?
Yeah, that's true, but I'm just wondering if anybody handled it. All of a sudden, if they had a very short life expectancy after that, died of some weird disease, I don't know. I doubt if there was any follow-up on it, but, just going with the story that, that's out there, Like I said, it's in the paper, whatever, but like I say, I was able to have a friend here. I've known this man for a long time, and he's a few years older than I am. He's probably in his early 80s, so his dad in the 20s, this has been 30 years, and that Ellis would have been an older man, but like I said, would have had, he would have got the first-hand story. When they kind of had a storm came up, but talking with my friend, when he talked to a storm came up, it was like nothing, it was a real gut buster, so to speak. So,
That would keep people from, going out and venture looking at it. Well, whatever aliens, whatever they recovered, what they had to recover. And undoubtedly, they certainly wouldn't want any evidence laying there like that.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, that's always been my deal. I mean, no matter what we have a little bit, if the extraterrestrials don't really want us to have it, there's really not much to stop them from coming and getting it. I mean, they have that ability.
Well,
people don't realize this.
I've had Bruce Maccabee on. I don't know if you heard when he was on.
Yep, yes, I tried to.
And what I think too is I just don't believe, like Bob Lazar, that we were going back and trying to replicate like propulsion systems and UFOs back when that time frame, because even like Bruce Maccabee said, we don't have the technology. Just like I was saying at the beginning of the show, right? If you could go back to 1920s, or if you go back to 1950, right? Or even 1960, and you hand off the world's top scientists a cell phone and said, duplicate it. There's no way they could duplicate it. It'd be impossible, because they didn't even know what an integrated circuit was, let alone an integrated circuit. It started out large, and an integrated circuit is a circuit that would take massive tubes, for example, to make it function.
Oh, yeah.
And now they can make a circuit smaller than a pinprick. The technology, I just don't believe we have the technology to back engineer these UFOs. I just don't. I think we did probably try to, but I don't think we could. And I don't think we have the technology to have UFOs. And that's where I'm thinking these sightings of UFOs, and it's on the upswing. More now than ever, it being reported. And
well, you have people seeing more. It's just like the Navy has upgraded their radar, so it picks up a few more. I mean, I'm sure we didn't have the technology superly back then, but it has to have been a little bit of something coming around from it. I mean, you're going to have the guest on, I can't remember the guy's name, with Philip Corso with Day After Roswell.
Uh-huh.
I kind of think that there's some follow in there. I think there's some stuff. I mean, it took them a while to figure it out, and they're not going to, fiber optics and, oh yeah, I mean.
No, I think there's certain things, Timothy, that we could figure it out.
Yeah, sure. But there's some things we ain't gonna figure out.
Like a
propulsion, we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, like a UFO propulsion, how it works, we can maybe figure it out. To duplicate it to make it work is another thing. Now, maybe we might have got a UFO or two that we captured for some way, that we figured out how to make it work, but to duplicate it, I don't think we're there yet with our technology.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, thinking about, of course, to me, the other deal I run into a little while back was they're talking about a black hole out on the edges of our solar system, but they think it might only be about the size of a basketball.
Oh, yeah.
A new theory. I mean, hey, who knows? I mean, and it's just things like that. I mean, when you're using technology that
we're discovering
can manipulate forces you don't have no understanding of. I mean, you're not going to get nowhere.
Well, look, for years and years, up to recently, scientists said that nothing could exist coming into a black hole and coming out. They said it's impossible to come out.
Well, that's what they say, but we don't know.
Well, we do know. Back here about 5 months ago, they saw an object coming out of a black hole, and that got all the scientists scratching their heads. Like, how could it come out of a black hole intact?
Or where did it come from?
Yeah, where did it come from? And now,
so that's basically it.
My gut feeling, whatever these aliens or wherever they're coming from are using black holes as a portal to get from one solar system to another solar system, like almost instantly. You mentioned that new black hole they found the size of a basketball, but that is growing as it sits there and sucks a star, which it's doing. It's giving it more energy to grow.
Said that was just a theory.
but it's just things like that, dark matter. I mean, there's lots we don't know. We don't know wormhole, how, all these things we don't know.
What
we can assume, we can kind of assume and think, but
I just got a funny feeling something is going on. You were undoubtedly abducted to have that implant, and you don't remember being abducted. There's so many people I've interviewed on my show, and some of these people are well known, that claim they were abducted from an early age all the way up, like a cycle, like when they were like 13 years old, when they were 15, and then 20 and 30 years old. And it just makes you wonder what their agenda is abducting these people. Calvin Parker, he'll be back on my show next week. And I had him on a couple of times. And the first time it was really hard to get information from him, Timothy. But the last time I had
I understand.
Last time I had him on, he actually opened up more. And I said, the abduction you went through, did you feel whatever these creatures or whatever they were, friendly and caring? And he came back and he said he got the impression they were evil.
Yeah, I think he run into some, I think robotic, I haven't completely caught up on it, but that robotic type creatures, whatever you run into, I'm sure there's a lot of different things out there. A lot of people, run into it, sinister, no soul, not caring, dark eyes. I don't know, because I don't get to remember, but then you have some people, especially women that have had children, they talk about them a little different. So it is interesting, and it's like, what are we really running into? Of course, we could be running into quite a varied type of a situation out there.
I think
some that do care and some that don't care. I don't know.
Or maybe some of them actually want to see us self-destruct, for maybe they want our planet for something. It's scary because the talking.
Well, if they really wanted that, it to be done. If they wanted our planet, we would have lost it a long time ago, because I think they've been here for a long time.
Well,
so that's a mute point.
I just think, but time is moving fast. I mean, if you look about Earth changes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you really read and believe what the scientists are saying, by 2050, our planet is not going to be very, livable. I feel bad for your grandkids, my grandkids.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing. I probably won't be here, but I really don't. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Even back when I first had my first surgery, it was chemtrails and do this and do that. Look at what's happening. We don't even need to do. We're doing it. I mean, plastic and green. I mean, and then no, and that's, well, why don't we just clean it up and do the things we need to do to make it better now? And if we're wrong, then we really don't need to worry about it. But I'm not going over the politics, but it's nothing but brouhaha. Yeah, there was a. Lester Holt was on, and he grew up kind of in Alaska, and he was at the Portage Glacier, and he was talking, well, I was at the Portage Glacier 20 years ago with my daughters, and they were even talking then.
Well, I'm just saying by the rate, that is going on. And I had a listener just say that you're kind of breaking up on your phone. Are you on a cordless phone or something where the battery's getting low, or by any chance?
Well, I'm on a cordless phone.
Okay.
I hope the battery's not. It should be it's a fairly new phone.
Okay, we are going to be going on break for 2.5 minutes. Why don't I hang up on you and call you back in 2.5 minutes?
Do you want to try my cell phone?
No, let's try this again, but put it on charge for the 2.5 minutes, and then I'll call you back.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, Gary.
Okay, my friend. We'll be back.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to get into his abduction and his implant, but I'm trying to find out as much information as I can for you, the listener, to give you the feeling about Timothy Cullen. in what information he has gathered, because, you know, after he had that implant